Welcome back to the Michigan Business Beat, brought to you on the Michigan Business Network. Chris Holman here, and we're coming to you from our studios at the Capital Region International Airport, and we're going to be spending a little time with Vanessa Keesler, Dr. Vanessa Keesler. She's president and CEO of Launch Michigan. Vanessa, welcome. And I think the first thing is, what is Launch Michigan? It sounds like, are we all getting on a rocket ship here? Or?
No rocket ships. Thanks for having me, Chris. I appreciate the time to talk about Launch Michigan. So Launch Michigan is a cross-partisan nonprofit focused on reimagining Michigan's education system. And we represent a coalition of business, labor, philanthropy, and education. So the impetus for Launch forming was this idea that often business and education kind of go in their corners and they fight over money or they fight over what's the right thing to do. And then we don't make any progress as a state. So Launch was formed to try to bridge that gap, identify shared solutions, and reinvent our education system.
Well, I noticed that Jeff Donofrio is your board chair from Business Leaders. Tell me a little bit about the board and maybe the role they play.
Yep. So the board it represents those four sectors that I mentioned: business, labor, philanthropy, and education. So we do have, great business representation from larger business like Business Leaders for Michigan, but we also have the Small Business Association of Michigan. And then we have individual business owners like Ron Hall from Bridgewater Interiors, Bill Parfit from the Northwood Group, and a couple others. But we have as well education labor, Chandra Modafferi from the Michigan Education Association. She's the vice chair. So it's an interesting organization to have the chair be Jeff Donofrio from Business Leaders and the vice chair be Chandra from the Teachers Union. So, which is great. They work well together, and it's a great thing. It's very unique for us. But we also have the operating engineers, Lee Graham from Operating Engineers, and then we have philanthropy, Skillman Foundation, Balmer Foundation, and then Superintendent Association and Dr. Vitti, DPSCD superintendent. So the role of the board, which is also very cool, when Launch became a nonprofit about 2 years ago, one of the reasons they set us up as a nonprofit, we had existed as a coalition before that, but they wanted the nonprofit to be able to take the framework, take the solutions, and implement them without kind of taking a vote at every step. Wanted to empower a leader to move things forward. So the board is advisory and fundraising, but they don't direct the work on a day-to-day level.
Okay, so let me ask you, because you said when they put us together, so how are you funded?
We are funded from a combination of philanthropy, some of the associations or some of the groups I mentioned, foundations on the board, but others as well, and then individual corporate philanthropy. And we also have 100% board contribution.
All right, give me a report card, as long as we're talking education. How are we doing with K-12?
Unfortunately, the news isn't great for Michigan as a state. We are ranked in the bottom 10 on most metrics, 42, 43. I mean, the number moves around a little, but either way, we have more states doing better than us than doing worse than us. So, and we also, it's really important to note, people tend to hear that statistic and think, oh, that's probably, those other districts, or it's not my district. My district's doing great. But Launch just did an analysis in this last year and released our K-12 dashboard. Your listeners and your viewers can see it on our website, where we matched Michigan districts to their similar districts in top performing states to see how they performed against their competitors, essentially their peers. And those results were bad as well. 7 out of 8 Michigan districts underperformed their peers in math. 7 out of 10 underperform in reading, and 7 out of 10 underperform in graduation rate. So it's important. We don't want to blame educators because they're working hard, but we need to recognize that Michigan's education system is broken and we need to fix it at the system level.
Yeah. Okay. So age-old question: what do we do?
Yep. So the Launch framework has.
Don't stumble on me, Vanessa.
No, I'm not. The Launch framework has 3 big areas for what reinvention looks like. So the first is reinventing the experience of kids in K-12 with a performance standard of what it means to graduate a meaningful high school diploma. Right now, it's still a lot of seat time. It's not meaningful to kids, and we need multiple pathways for kids into and through high school. The second part of that is responsibility. Michigan is one of only 6 states with a governance model where the governor has no direct authority over education. And then throughout the system, we just are completely decentralized. Everybody kind of does their own thing in a lot of ways. So it's 830 districts trying to get it right. So we need better alignment, governance, and vision. And then the last part is we need a system that is fully resourced. Michigan is lagging behind in terms of our education funding, although recent years have made up some of that gap. We need a system that's fully resourced, and then we need it to be equitably resourced with a focus on investing in best practices.
Well, I have to tell you, my first career was 10 years in education. I'm a big advocate. I know the importance of it. You're right. Educators are doing a great job, but in no other industry are high performers and low performers paid the same amount.
Mhm.
And I think that's one of the things we need to look at. Okay. What can listeners do to stay informed and get involved with you? We got about 30 seconds.
Yep. So our website is launchmichigan.org. You can sign up for our newsletter there. You can view the K-12 dashboard. And you can also sign up to be a citizen co-sponsor, which means that as we have specific things that parents can do or voters can do, some of our work will be ballot initiatives. You'll get that information and be given more direct calls to action. So that's the best thing right now.
Keep up the good work because we need progress in this area. Vanessa Keesler, Ph.D. and President and CEO of Launch Michigan. Thanks for being with us and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
You're watching the Michigan Business Beat on the Michigan Business Network. We'll be right back with more. I'm Chris Holman.